One. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Divine Brothers podcast with a whole series of things to talk about today. A lot of interesting topics, a lot of interesting things going out there. But I thought we'd begin on a somber note, an important one, I think, because one of our native sons has passed away today. Somebody who I remember fondly growing up, somebody who took on their own identity in early internet culture. I remember him personally from the Conan O'Brien show. It's Chuck Norris, man, passed away in his 80s. It's I'm a little sad to see Walker Texas
And
Ranger
where do
go.
you think he died?
Texas, I'd imagine.
Nope.
Where?
Kauai.
Oh, what a boss. What a boss. Good
That's
for
where
him.
that's where the elite should die, like him. He deserves to die in a beautiful place, watching a sunrise or sunset.
In terms of legacy, I mean, he was a legit martial artist, and but more important than that, he fought Bruce Lee in the Coliseum. Fought him in the Coliseum, man. I mean, nobody else can make that claim. Come on, come on. That's pretty badass, dude. Chuck Norris is American icon. He deserves a little bit of memory for us as a country.
He was a legit martial artist. He was a karate national champion. He had a meme that, Chuck, what, remember that, like, Chuck Norris can.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Mimi stuff was great. He embraced it. He was Walker, Texas Ranger. He was like appropriate masculinity, like humble, kind, only use violence when you should. Like you think of Chuck, it's like, yeah, he was an overall positive for humanity. I
yeah,
can't imagine someone going, that piece of shit, Chuck North. It just, you don't hear that. So,
yeah.
yes, that's a net positive win for humanity. Good man. Sad to see him go, but leaves a very solid impression on this world.
Yes, yes. Behind Chuck Norris's beard, there is not a chin, but another fist.
That's right.
Yeah. That good stuff, man. So God bless you, Chuck Norris. We wish you well as you go on to the next chapter of existence. Yeah. I got to bring up a little something that happened. I've been, man, YouTube, you know what? YouTube shows PTI. So that I've been watching a little PTI every day. It's only 20 minutes, but it's nice, man. They're still doing it. They're old men now, Kornheiser and Woolbon and all that. But still, they got a great flow, all that stuff. And they brought up a story that intrigued me, man. Matt Leinart. Am I saying that right, Chase? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. Good job.
The old USC QB went on to I think he played a little while, didn't amount to much in the NFL and stuff.
Right.
USC called him up, said, Matt, we got a kid. We're going to pay him millions of dollars, but he has one request before he signs with us. He wants your number. Leinart said no. Can't have it. Can't have it, man. This is what's happening, man. Like they're not. They don't just want the money now. Now they want the number. They want the glory. They want to reclaim the past. And I don't know, man. It's a weird feeling. How do you feel about that, Chase? You think this is the beginning of the end, or do you think, you know what? Fuck this. You can sell anything you want, dude.
College football is dead. I don't care about it. But I'd never understood the money. This happened with Cam Newton at Auburn. There was an incoming five stars like, hey, I want to wear number two. And Cam was like, no, no. I'm just like, I don't get this. First off, there's a limited number of numbers. You're gonna run
Yeah.
out. You can't do this
Yes.
shit much longer. And it's like, who fucking care? I mean, it's a massive ego. No, I want to be remembered as number 11. I'm number two. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, are you
Yeah.
that attached to the number? Maybe if you didn't amount to anything in the pros, but I never understood this. Like, if it was me, I'd like, wear the fucking number. Wear it. I don't care.
A piece of history though, like, I mean, how would you feel to just know that you are forever a part of history? Like, for example, 23 Chicago, right? That will always be Jordan's number. Like that, it just always forever. You know what I mean? And that's part of it. Don't you think there's something about like that you're eternal now? That number lives on, or nah, it's bullshit.
I think for periods of your life, it probably matters. It
Okay.
probably enhances things. It makes life easier. It gives you a sense of purpose and, like you did something. But in the end, you're sitting there wasting away. I think you're like, fuck it.
How would you feel if Tony Romo, the old terrible QB for the Dallas Cowboys, had 8 for his number instead of 9?
Wouldn't bother me.
Really? It would bother me a little bit. Aikman's number? Come on. That
No,
that
they would
feels
be
like
like, who was the better eight? Aikman. End of story. That would be it. That would
okay.
be it.
Okay. I
There'd be tiers. Who played better? Which will
okay.
happen in the future because you're going to run out of numbers. Yeah,
Okay. I guess that's fair. Maybe I'm a little too sensitive to historical relevance, but I guess your argument's appealing to me, Chase. I think you've got this one down.
well,
Yeah.
that's the first.
All right. Let's talk about Ben Shapiro's eyebrows. Chase, I just showed this to you, and I think you were a little shocked by what you saw, man. What do you think about those?
Well, first off, his eyebrows are turned into bushes. I did not know people's eyebrows could turn into bushes. I guess that Middle Eastern type hairy. I guess that's possible. I get plucking in between to stop the unibrow or on the sides, but these have grown in fullness. And if
Yeah,
he hasn't addressed that, I'm not too sure what to say about that. He doesn't look like the same person. It's bizarre. It doesn't look good. You
it's
think it's a
shocking.
sign of showing he's in solidarity with
Solidarity with Israel.
what?
I think that's exactly,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
of Jewish
Because
people with big eyebrows. Is that a stereotype? What? I don't
I,
understand this.
I think in a way it's kind of like it's like anti-cultural appropriation. You know what I mean? Like I'm not appropriating your beauty standards. I'm embracing the beauty of my people, you know? And I think that
It's not beautiful. It's not beautiful. No,
listen, Chase, that's your opinion. You
it's
know,
not. It's a
that's just
fact.
your opinion.
It's pretty close to a
And
fact.
just because you dream of picking the USC number girls, I'm sorry, the UFC number girls who go around the ring and hold up the numbers between rounds, that
I
doesn't
mean,
necessarily mean that you actually could pick them. You know, I
I,
think that
find me someone that says he looks better with those eyebrows. Find me one. I would be
maybe
shocked.
Israeli people, maybe they think he's hot.
I,
Maybe Middle Eastern people think that the eyebrows are hot.
that's it. He hasn't addressed this on his show and nobody's asked him.
Listen,
That's the
Chase,
first
why?
thing that came out of my mouth. The first thing.
What do you have? What have I asked you to address your beard, Chase? How suddenly you have a beard now, huh? Have I asked you to explain your beauty?
I'd be
No,
happy to
no.
do it. But if he was interviewing the president of Iran, the first thing I would say, I wouldn't talk about the war. I'd be like, "What's going on with the eyebrows, bro? Well,
What's going on with your eyebrows,
I gotta
man?
know. What's up, man?"
I gotta. Do you believe that sometimes you have to just make sacrifices with your appearance? So, for example, let's say you're a flat-chested woman, right? You know, do you believe, you know what, you have to do the surgery? You're not going to make it to the same places in life that you could if you had breasts. You know what I mean?
It's an
So,
awful
in a way, you're
comparison.
doing well, but what I'm saying is, like, there are women who say, like, I got to do this because this is the reality of the world.
One move enhances your life, the other does the opposite. It takes you down the ladder. Like this doesn't make any sense.
I,
Makes no sense.
okay, okay, it's fair. It's an interesting thing, and I'm gonna watch. I want to see how far they can grow. Maybe they'll keep going. Could take
Nobody's
over his
asked him
place.
about it, or we don't know. That's shocking to me.
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just shocking to see. That's all I can say. Speaking
Yeah.
of Israel, right, dude? Did you see Joe Kent, the guy who resigned from the administration? This guy was in charge of the counterterrorism team, right? Had the highest level of clearance. Goes on Tucker Carlson, right? Of course, everybody goes on Tucker Carlson these days. First thing he says is Israel pushed Trump to do this. They've got something on Trump. Number two, he says that Charlie Kirk, they were instructed by the administration, do not investigate this any further. Don't look into it any further. He was like, they were told, stop the investigation. And also, they were told, stop the investigation into the Butler guy who tried to assassinate Trump.
Butler.
Yeah, Butler, Pennsylvania, the dude who
The kid.
tried to, yeah. So basically, he's saying Israel has infiltrated the executive branch of the government. They have the power. It's some Nick Fuentes sort of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? As I was listening to him, I started kind of nodding my head and saying, "Oh my God, I think I'm starting to fall into the conspiracy world. I'm starting to think maybe, maybe these Israelis got a little bit of something. It kind of scared me, man. I think maybe there's something to this madness.
How much do you believe of what he's saying?
Well, he's got a couple things on his says. Number one, he's handsome.
Mm.
Eyebrows look really good.
See,
Okay,
that matters so much. You're right.
it does. It does. He's handsome. Number two, okay, dude is young, like kind of young, and he made his way to the top of this place, and you're just like, damn, how did you make it all the way to the top of this? Like he must have something going for him. You know what I mean? And number three, uh, dude fought in Iraq for years and years and years. His wife, like who he was married to, died in Iraq. He said he had lots of his friends die in Iraq, and he said like I saw him do this Iran thing. And I was like, I can't let him do it. So I believe that if I believe in his story, it's because of that. Like this is a dude who experienced the wars, and he's like, I'm not gonna let this fucking happen for no reason. So I don't know, man. I think that this looks shady, very shady.
I have not seen I saw that he resigned. I figured that would be the narrative. I don't know. I think I would need a couple of people coming out saying the exact same thing for me to start shifting. When it's just one, I've just seen people lie so much in my life. They lie through their teeth.
Mm.
And I never can't tell. And it's like political shit around this is always the same narrative. Someone comes out and says this, they write a book, they make millions. So I'm just like, I don't know. I, if I had to guess, it makes sense, right? I
Right.
think we know who runs this country, at least in my opinion. How much influence do they have? I think they have a fucking lot. I don't know if it's everything he's saying, but he could be
Well,
right. He could be
I
right.
I can it could be right, right? But no matter what, this world is it's fucking chaos right now, man. And I look all around, and I get fucking stressed looking at it and stuff, and it's not a time of peace. It's not. But in a way, do you think that this chaos is good?
I'm enjoying it. It sounds horrible. I think that just living through that decade of wokeism, where everything's just kind of pleasantries and this fake empathy, to see a bit of destruction and chaos, I was like, oh yeah, this is the counter. Like it does come back this way. Like this is what had to happen. To me, this was inevitable. So the fact that we're in it and it's like, oh, it's change. It's the churning. This is
Mm.
the catalyst. So it's like this does not scare me at all. The world escalation in World War III. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. We'll see. It doesn't phase me at all. I find it actually quite refreshing.
But see, at the same time, man, see, Chase wanted to bring this up too. Change can ruin a system, man. Even a small change, right? Like, for example, closing a tiny little strait in the middle of the Middle East can fuck over everybody. You know what I mean? So, like, my question is, how do you evaluate the place of change? How much change do you want? And how do you know you're not ruining everything by even adding the tiny little change? You know what I'm saying?
It's a great point. I think of like the changes I've seen in sports, the changes I like targeting an NFL ruined it for me. Game of Thrones is great till they deviate from the book. Let's let a fucking Hollywood director take over. Like changes like that are catastrophic. On
Yeah.
a in a war, it's that's just a different analogy completely. I don't know. I think that's a different type of change. I think this was coming for a long, like we were pushing fake change for a decade.
Mm,
Let's be more
yeah.
empathetic. Let's hire people because the way they look. And I'm like, this is stupid. And nobody's saying it. And it's all accumulated to we have this type of president and we have this type of conflict. Like to me, this was a tidal wave coming, man. Is it the right change or wrong? It's like we created this and here it is. It's like finally here.
But I mean, I do think it's an interesting question, right? Like, so let's say a client comes up to you and says, I just need change. Things got to change in my life. You know what I mean? And they know that basic principle. But, like you say, change can ruin everything. Change can save you. Big change, small change. They come up to you and they say, I know I need change, but I don't know what to do. How do you generally set up the goalposts so that they at least have wisdom when they try to seek it out?
Well, I mean, someone that's looking, most people talk about change and they never take the step, man. It's just
Exactly.
it's,
Yeah.
it's just not choosing anything is what I see the majority of the time. For me personally, this static, like, oh, nothing's ever really changed. It's just a little bit of friction and it's left, it's right. Like this looks like something's really going to change. I don't know it's for better or worse, but at least it's a change. Like to me, it's like,
Yeah.
thank
So
God.
so you are of the opinion just any change then.
Yes.
Like just fucking
Yes.
change. Doesn't matter. Even if it does ruin the system, at least it's change.
I had a client this morning and she's like, this is it. This is what we've been working for. It's like, yeah, but if I do this, it could go catastrophically wrong. I'm like, yeah, but what you do never fucking works. Ever.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
keep doing it. She's like, yeah, but and I'm like, yeah, I'm so sick of this shit. Just go with the catastrophic possibility to maybe it gets better. Go with the change.
Dude, that takes bravery. Crazy bravery,
It
you know.
does, man. It does.
I know I could I that listen that woman you just described. That's exactly how I feel with my life right now. Like I ever since I came back from America, I feel so stuck, like just trapped, you know. And everything is tolerable. It's like a feeling of malignant mediocrity. You know, like everything is just good enough. And then you look at the world and you're like, ah, well, if I leave, the world's fucked, and it's pretty solid. There's nothing to worry about, and it's killing me because I feel there's no change. It's all the fucking same. You know what I mean? But that idea, well, just, move somewhere else and get a new job and start a new career, do that. It's fucking terrifying. Terrifying,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bro, I feel for that woman. I really do feel for. I
Feel for
hope
her,
she
feel
did.
for me. I've had to hear that shit for years. What about
Uh,
me? Someone that's constantly vacillating for years. It's just like, fuck,
um,
just do something,
well,
man.
but when you listen to it, can you sense like the Death Con 1, Death Con 2 situation? What I mean is like when you're listening to somebody, can you sense the instability, right? Like, are you able to like say like, okay,
Oh,
maybe you don't need to change now. She can keep going for several years, but then there's that moment where you're like, okay, if you don't fucking change, you're gonna fucking crack.
no, no.
You know what I
You
mean?
know what I see now? I see awareness. Like, I am
Uh,
deeply aware that this is an issue, and I see it from many angles. I'm like, that's all I can do. I've given you that.
yeah.
Like, you've looked at it from every side. If you can't make a decision at this point, then you never will, and that's not my problem. It's not my
Mm.
problem, man. Yeah. Now, Austin, do you have feedback on this before we jump to unstable people? You've been in and out this episode?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. As far as change, I mean, we've talked about it before, but I think most people need to be in a state of intense desperation before they make radical change to their lives. And I've been in that situation myself. Change is difficult, and it's usually you have to pass through a valley of uncertainty, in some cases, outright pain and dejection to get to the other side. And that's hugely problematic because if we just keep pushing off difficult things, then it's 30 years later and you've never done them. But even slight inconvenience can keep you from doing something that would make your life radically better, in just a few short days or weeks or whatever.
But what about where things don't get inherently awful, where it's like everything's kind of comfortable, but you still vacillate, like you're not going to die? What do you do then? Like there's just you're just stuck in this pattern, but like the pattern keeps you alive, and it's not too bad and it's not too good. I think that's the ultimate issue. Like when things don't hit desperation and you want to change, like I think that might be 10 times harder than the desperation state.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like there has to be strong motivation. Like Dean was saying, like sometimes the worst situation is one of like comfortable mediocrity when nothing is pushing you that hard in either direction. But that's when you don't change for 20, 30 years. I think that's dangerous in itself.
Damn.
Yeah, man. See, like Chase, you talked about this idea of leaving survival mode. I feel like I'm leaving like comfortable mode. You know what I mean? Like, is like survival is every day is dangerous. Every day could be your last. And therefore you got to put everything out on the line. But when you're in this comfortable numbness, then you're not really trying that hard, and there's a comfortable discomfort, and you get stuck. Like I've been doing this teaching thing for almost 10 years, man. And I feel that terrible feeling of like the internal instability of I can't take this much longer, but no clear escape route, no clear next step, no clear path. And that shit makes me feel miserable when I have no reason to be miserable. Like when life is good, when there's money, when there's a partner, when there's everything that you should have, all the boxes you should check, but you still feel that gnawing, I hate my life little
God
voice in the back of your head.
damn.
God
Damn.
damn. God damn.
So what do you do?
Jerk off as much as you
Distractions,
nonstop.
Chase. Pleasant
Nonstop.
distractions. Yes.
I guess there's got to be hard work. I think that the thing you get into survival mode, the hard work is the thing that's missing. There needs to be some kind of thing that drives you to really get into hard work. And so, in a way, pretend like you're in survival mode, even though you're not. You know. So,
It, it's
yeah,
it's yeah, well, you're in one catalyst, I'm in another. So I feel like I was in survival mode for years.
sure.
And I'm not in survival mode. This is it's so weird the last month or two. It's like I no friends, I don't know anybody, and I'm loving it. I love coming home from work and just fucking listening to cosmic horror. Like I have interests in other like I can genuinely say, yeah, I got something I'm into. Like I can develop a hobby slash interest now because I'm not worried about just surviving. And it's
Yeah.
just I'm not getting fat. I'm eating a lot. I'm not gaining weight. I'm like, oh, the cortisol levels are dropping. Like everything is
Ah.
different. And I've seen this with people where it's like, oh, I'm not in survival mode. I need something else to be anxious about now. For me, it's just like, I ain't fucking anxious about any of that shit. I'm just like, wow, damn,
Oh.
I can get interested in other things. Holy shit. Holy shit. But I think there's trajectory. That survival mode, it's not just I'm out of survival mode and I have like a target. I'm like, all right, now I know
Mm.
where I'm headed. And that's so peaceful. It's unbelievably peaceful. So that's why I was bringing it up. It's like, no, I'm not in survival mode anymore. I'm not getting fat, and
Yeah.
I'm not worried. It's just I have interest now. It's fascinating. I didn't have
Yeah.
interest for years.
God damn, that makes me so jealous. I hate it. I don't like it. It's chasing, it's holding the money and the Native American with the sunglasses. It's all happening. Ah, man, damn it. It makes
Well,
me
I want to
desperate.
say other thing about the instability. I had a guy a couple of days. This guy's he's schizophrenic, and I've talked to him a couple times. Some days are bad. This is a good day, but I could within a minute, 5, 10 minutes of that comment, you can feel the energy of instability, how his mind could take an idea and run with it. Have you seen the news? It's Armageddon. Like, nah, man,
Oh
it's not.
yeah.
But
Oh
I was able to, by the end of that session, he was centered and he was so grateful. And I was just like, man, this guy, I don't think he ever learned to be anchored. Looking at his past and history, like this guy was in chaos. They're labeling him as schizophrenic. He thinks paranoid. I'm like, this guy never had a shot, and he is just desperate for any type of stability and a touch of positivity. That's it.
dude,
That's
that
it.
that right there is healing, you know? Like
Temporary
serious.
healing. Temporary
But
healing.
still, it makes me want, like, so many people spend, Chase, you are rare. People don't like being alone. I hate being alone. I like people. You know what I mean? And the fact is, finding good people who kind of communicate a kind of chi that mellows you out, that keeps you centered, is so rare because everybody's alone and they're just diving into horrible news shit online. I give an example. Vic, he'll text me periodically horrible news shit. Like, nah, it's all going to hell. It's the end of the world and stuff. So, you know, the other day he sent me a message and I was like, he wants to call and bitch about the world. So he sent me this message. Trump's war is growing every day. So I sent him back, you have no say. Trump has his way. So come what may, your son is gay. You'll be okay.
That's a
You
great
know?
retort. Yeah.
And he said, and you know what he said? He said, nice poem.
He sent me that too. I said, it's America's time to shine. That's what I said.
But the point is that, like, when you talk about sensing instability, I think the cure to instability is countering that energy with other energies, with stable energy, you
Yes.
know?
What I was
Yeah.
going to ask y'all, can you guys sense instability and how do you approach it? I have to because I'm sitting with them for an hour, but I usually probably would avoid it if I had my choice. But
Well,
if I'm in a,
see, I was about to say,
yeah.
I approach it by stay the fuck away. Because I
Yeah.
see instability as like, do not interact with that
Yeah.
person. They will pull you in like a whirlpool. You're
Yeah.
forced to interact.
I try to stay away. If I work with a number of tumultuous people at work, and when I see that they're in that mood, I make no attempt to intervene. I might the most I would do is say like a nice comment and maybe compliment their work and try to add like a little nudge of positivity. And but I move on quick, and I think that's often the best thing to do in those situations.
Yeah. Fortunately,
See,
spot on. Yeah.
but Chase, it makes me like, that's my goal, dude, is to have good people around. If I would love community, I would love to just be around people who are stable. you know, and there's this feeding effect on the energy where everybody's energy is feeding each other and it's maintaining a vibe that is healing. Man, that's that's the dream. That's the goal, man. One day, I hope to find it.
I oh man. Yeah. Anyway, I can't I'll have to share about it later. What's next? What's on the agenda?
Well, that actually reminds me. So I've been reading. Austin, do you know Dr. Samuel Johnson from 17th century England?
Of course. You know, it's
Yeah,
really funny. I picked up that book at a used bookstore. It was like a collection of his works, and I found him fascinating. I didn't read his
he's great.
fiction, but he wrote like essays and stuff like that that I really enjoyed.
So, if you get a chance, Austin, there's a guy named James Boswell who wrote the biography of Samuel Johnson, and he was like best friends with him. Like they'd like, it's the most amazing biography because it's so real. It's so like the conversations and like they talk about everything from like prostitutes to like what happens when you die and like how to what he thinks of the American Revolution and all this. It's great, but Dr. Johnson was one of these unstable people. Like he literally was always afraid he was about to go insane. And this is why he always went outside to talk to people and went to clubs and stuff like that. Cause anytime he got alone, he literally had chains and padlocks and he would lock himself up and stuff like that. And he just because he was afraid, like, I'm gonna go insane. I'm going and all his life he had this fear of going insane, this genius, right?
Do you, do
But
you,
there's this thing.
do you
Go
think it
ahead.
was because he couldn't be alone?
I think so.
Yeah.
He talks about it constantly. Like he
Yeah.
he really is terrified of being alone. And later in life, like he's in his 60s and 70s, he meets with this woman, Miss Thaniel, right? And he has kind of a breakdown, like a mental breakdown where like a priest, like he's in his apartment and a priest found him and he's like mumbling crazy shit. And this woman comes in and the priest is like, please take care of him. I can't deal with this crazy person, you know? And this woman takes her to her estate, like out in the country and shit. And she's got all these kids and stuff, and it totally heals him. He's like playing with the kids. It's a beautiful place. The woman has like late night conversations with him and stuff. They think that they have a sadomasochistic relationship too, because he writes her letters like, "Oh, don't make me get out the rod" and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But
You're
it
leaving. Yeah, we
totally,
forget that part. Yeah.
yeah, right. But it's this interesting thing because it fucking heals him, right? Like the ability to get like those healing relationships, people makes him stable, you know? And of course, eventually it all goes to hell. She's like, stop, you're creeps, stay away from us and stuff like that. And he immediately dies afterwards, you know?
Yeah, so
So
it didn't, yeah, it was a temporary fix, man.
it was a temporary fix, but it still shows that there's something to people, dude. There's something to people.
There is something to people that don't need people. I was sitting in my bed last night. It was like 7:30. And I was like, I think I'm gonna go to bed. And I was like, God, this isn't normal. and I'm listening to these cosmic horrors of hopeless shit, and I was like, I love this. I love it. I'm so glad nobody's here. I'm so glad I don't gotta talk to anybody to justify this shit. It was fantastic. And I realized at that moment, I was like, you are in a very small minority of the people that can
Yeah.
live in caves. But I think it keeps me sane because as great as having people around is, having people around will also be your downfall. It is chaos. It
It's
causes
true. They have to be
conflict.
the correct people, you
Yes,
know?
and to get it
Yeah.
right is almost impossible. It is almost impossible.
Right. It's funny you say that. Like, I think one of the things that mom and dad have always said, Chase needs a woman. Chase needs a wife. He's never going to be happy. He'll never be. And they don't understand when I tell them, like, I think he likes being alone. They look at me like I'm a crazy person. Like, this is something that cannot exist. It's an impossibility.
E-
But I
e-
guess people like you, you know?
Every relationship I've ever had, I've had the conversation with the girl, and the girl is, "Do you care about me? Do you like me? Because it seems like you want me to leave." And I'm like, maybe if you show up half the week, maybe if you know, it's like the idea of her being there every day is just like this is hell. This is hell on
Dude,
earth. I don't
there's a
understand this.
there's a great Patrice O'Neill line, like where his woman, he's talking about his girl, and he's like, she's yelling at him and stuff like they're in a fight, and they're like kind of sitting in silence in the car, and he's looking out the window, like all contemplative and stuff, and she says, sometimes I don't think you like me, and he says, so what? Like, so what? Like, it's just like, who cares if I don't like you? Like, I was like, that's a chase line right there.
Yeah,
It's who you are, man.
yeah. Austin, what about you, man? Can
Yeah,
you can
there's
you
that.
handle isolation, or are you more of a people guy?
I like people, but I do enjoy my isolation as well. It's funny, there's that play by Sartre, No Exit, where a bunch of people are trapped in a room and gradually they figure out that they're in hell, and it's just being trapped in a room with a bunch of shitty people that you don't like, right? It's funny, that's exactly
Mm.
Chase's idea of hell too.
God,
Uh no, I
that's
totally agree. I think uh, being able to be alone for long periods of time shows a degree of maturity, and I might even say serenity, that you don't really need the distraction that people come with. Some people seek out very difficult people so that they can deal with that and not, look at themselves. And it's hard to believe, but I think Chase might actually be internally somewhat well developed, at least partially.
Chase is very, I think, comfortable with himself. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are not comfortable with themselves. They look in the mirror and they go, ugh, ugh, ugh. Like that's,
What?
I think that's, yeah.
I think someone was interviewing Jeffrey Epstein, and he said something like that. He's like, "I'm very comfortable with who I am," and I go, we should all be like that. And there's always you can always learn something from anybody. And I think Jordan Peterson said that always talk to people as if they could tell you something that's very important. And I think that in that one case, Jeffrey was correct that it's important to be comfortable with yourself. And I guess I envy Chase a little bit as well. Chase, what kind of cosmic horror are you listening to? You like H.P.
Well, hold on,
Lovecraft?
hold on. Before we get to that, one
no.
quick thing, right?
Okay.
Um, because we're just on this topic, I do want to get one quick thing in. Chase, I need a little advice because speaking of people that you don't want to be locked in a room with, right? There's a female friend who it's just she's all I got. She's all I got, right? She's the only friend I really got at work and stuff. She talks too much. She doesn't stop. She will never stop. She'll just keep going, and I'm so patient. I listen, and it's all awful, And like but she's all I got, and I can't. If I say something like "bitch, shut up," I can't keep listening about your life, your shitty life that I don't care about. It's the friendship's over. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
is there a tactful way to tolerate somebody who won't shut the fuck up? To gently suggest, please stop flapping your mouth hole.
Well, I have a suggestion, and you got to remember my context is therapy, so there's a time limit, and there's people that abuse that time limit, and they will
Mm,
go on abusing that time limit. I have to be cordial. Obviously, this isn't the socialist way, but you have to be a sniper. And what I mean by
What is it?
sniper is any pause. As soon as that sentence ends and there's that
Uh,
hesitation in what the next idea is, you're already ready. You're ready to interject and you do not yield. If you speak at the same time, you keep talking until they shut the fuck up. You have
okay.
to.
I think that's a great idea.
This is
That's a great
something that
idea.
Austin is terrible about. He can't apply this logic
That's
at all.
very true. Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
worst. But Chase, here's what I really want. Like, that's a great idea, but honestly, I don't want to keep talking. I just want silence. I
Oh,
want
but
like, can we
that's your
just
chance to be direct. That's your chance.
to
You're
say like,
waiting.
okay, you've talked enough.
No,
You should say,
that's probably not it. You should probably put it on you. Like I'm tapped out, or it's like, man, let's talk. Let's do something else. Or like that's all the energy I have. Like
yeah.
I put it in frames like I'm exhausted. I'm not attacking you. I'm tired, and this needs to end.
Okay.
Yeah, not attack
Okay.
her. Yeah.
Okay. That's that's fair. Because honestly, she talks so much. I don't want to keep talking. I'm like, dude, you've exhausted me. I have given you so much
Or
listening energy.
you could do the
No,
old school, just tap your wrist like this, you know? Yeah. They might
I gotta
understand.
go, bitch. Let's go. You know? All
You ever see the
right, that's good advice.
where Will Ferrell talks to Real Ferrell as he's the president, George W. Bush?
That's a great one. It's a great
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
He just acts like he's falling asleep. He's like, what? Are you falling asleep? Oh, hey, you if you talk about something fucking, not boring, I'll stay awake, you know? Yeah. So
Best part of that is when he talks about the plaque he made for the nap he took.
it's
Remember that?
great. Yeah, it was a great play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Commemorated. Yeah.
Nap. It's deep nap. Went deep. Had a little sexy dream, but not too sexy.
This is a
You know?
great skit.
A little
Peak,
drool coming
peak
out.
Will Ferrell. But you got to interject when you get a breath of fresh air. You take it. You interject immediately.
Dude, it was I so Chris Christie, yeah, the big fat New Jersey guy.
Why is he so
Uh,
fat? He might have had a shot at
the
president if he isn't so fucking fat.
he won't get on the Ozempic. He won't.
The
He's
fat
staying fat.
fuck. He looks like he
He's
goes
committed to
home
it.
and he jerks off and he eats. That's all he looks like he
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
He's and it's not a handsome, it's like a
No,
disgusting face.
it's
You know what I mean?
disgusting.
He looks like
There's a comic. It's a porn comic. I like it. And it's called The Mayor. It looks just like Chris Christie. He's this fat fucking mayor with this huge dick and he just fucks all these black chicks. And it's just
what?
yeah, it's all it is. He goes around banging these chicks in the like, I want this for my people. He's like, you want that? Suck this, and it's just like
What?
it's my favorite comic. There's like 6 or 7 chapters. It's fantastic.
Well, I guess there's something to like embracing the role. Like
I,
you're just gonna be a fat, corrupt
Maybe he's
politician.
got a huge dick. Maybe he doesn't care because he's got. Maybe I don't know.
Well, anyways, he was talking about like he's hung out with Bill Clinton and like Bill Clinton likes Chris Christie and stuff like that, and he talked how his game is, and it was like the greatest story ever. Like he's like he came up to me in a wedding, and Bill was like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Chris Christie. I'm the Attorney General here in the state." He's like, that's the job I always wanted, man. That's
Hmm.
the one. That was the one. Fuck all this politician stuff. That's where you got the power, but none of the pressure. And then he goes up to his wife and he's like, "Who are you, darling?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm, his wife and stuff." And he's like, "What do you do?" And he's like, "I work on Wall Street." He looks at me and said, "Look at you, man. You got a rich and beautiful. Hell yeah."
Well,
Like that's how Clinton was talking to everybody. And
well,
you know what? They both walked away Republicans saying, "I'm gonna vote for him."
let me
Like
this:
he had the charm.
if you had one president you could hang out with, who would it be?
Bill.
Bill.
Bill or Bush, one of the two. Bush would be fun too, I
Oh,
think.
Trump would be up there for me, but I think I'd take Bill. I think I'd have to take Bill. Yeah.
I think Trump would get grading, man. I think Trump would like.
Should get
I don't
Trump
know.
would
He
just.
doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke or anything like that. Bill would be down to party. You know what I mean?
That's why I said Bill. Yeah.
Yeah. But he said Bush was like this. He said Clinton was way more calculating, but Bush was like great to hang out with. He said like Bush was just like a regular guy. Like, man, let's go have a drink. Let's go do like he says like a good old boy, the sort of thing. And he said it really was a good old boy sort of thing. I was like, man, that sounds cool. I'm kind of glad that shit was going on with the presidents back in the day. I feel like Trump would be awkward. Like he would be so into himself that he couldn't get the vibe right, you
Nah,
know.
I think the camera on Trump changes him. I think get the camera away and isolate him. I think it's a different person.
Did you see him bring up Pearl Harbor in front of the Japanese prime minister?
Yeah, it wasn't too smooth, was it? Yeah, he's
That was
that's
not smooth.
that
That
was
was not
kind of
smooth.
like they're eating dogs and cats. I'm like, Trump, don't say that. That's not you
Don't
don't want to
say
say
that, Trump.
that.
That's not good. It's
We
not
don't want to
good.
go there, bro. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, all right. Let's get into this cosmic horse shit because you are. I'm glad you're getting into this because I got into this was like my great COVID excursion. Like when I was stuck in hotels and stuff, I went
Really?
deep into 40K rabbit holes, man.
Really?
Because so many. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's great. It was a great thing to get lost in, man. So tell me about it, man. You've discovered cosmic horror. What's it like?
Well, he was saying HP Love. I hate that shit. I hate Lovecraft.
Yeah, that's. I tried reading it. It's not. It doesn't hold up. You know?
40K. It's from like the late 80s, early 90s, back when,
Yeah.
morals didn't exist. So it's like it's oh, every fucking cosmic horror shit it always ends happily. Like this is just like there's no illusions, there's no meaning, there's no fairness.
There's
Suffering
only
is
war.
suffering is the baseline through war, and you produce people through war, and there's all these factions. It's just this hopelessness, and I love it because it's like
Why?
even when your soul dies, you go to the warp, which is the psychic energy, and it absorbs your soul. It's like even that's meaningless. It's just because I see that every day with people that life beats you to your knees, and there is hope. You can break out of it, but so few people do it. And
Yeah.
most of it is just chronic stuff. This is how I know life. And I don't try to escape that. I'm like, that's life. Every time I see a movie, every time I see a new series, it's just like this. The world does not operate like this. Everything's a Disney fucking ending. This fucking lore, it's just like, yeah, it's nothing. We're all
Yeah.
gonna die and you're gonna suffer to
Yeah.
the very end and your soul's gonna disintegrate. I'm like, damn, this.
I think that there's something deeply human about nihilism. Like I see it in the Middle Ages, man. Everybody thought it was the end of the world. Everyone,
When's
like
this?
every
Middle
Christian.
Ages. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh yeah,
Plague.
man. Like the
Sure.
plague comes through, Vikings and Muslims are raiding
What,
and
let me ask you
everything like
this.
that.
Do you think the plague spurred us to expansion to go to the Americas because we were so
The plague
desperate in
happens
the
way
feudal system?
before. Happens way before that. You know what I mean?
What
But
do you mean?
well, I'll tell you what it does. The plague comes like way
Well, that's what
before
I mean.
that.
Because of the plague and the feudal system, and you're like, what's the point of life? It creates this notion of what's over the horizon, the expansion.
Well, so a couple of things. It does destroy the feudal system because
Right,
there wasn't enough people for it to work,
right,
right? Like
right.
everybody's like populations are getting halved everywhere, so fundamentally the whole game changes. You know what I mean? And people do start to say, "Oh, well, there's opportunities. I don't have to just do what my Lord says. I can actually go do shit on my own because there's space, there's room."
It was
You
the
know,
expansionist mindset. Yeah.
I think that there's something to that for sure.
Okay.
You know,
Cool.
but but I do think like it is interesting. I love yin and yang as a concept in China, the light and the shadow. And I really do think the shadow needs way more attention. You know, there's something good about meditating in the darkness, like imagining a future where the golden age of technology is done. It's over, and it's all just staving off the inevitable end. There is no hope. You're just surviving out there and stuff like that. I think in a way it's comforting because you know that the end is certain. You know that you know what's going to happen and you're just surviving. I think there's something to that, man.
I hate false hope. I'm all for hope because I do believe in it, but we can't exaggerate it. We can't give
Yeah.
everybody a fairy tale. I hate that is the standard. The standard is you're gonna get fucked and beat to your knees and probably bent over with a cock up your ass. Now, whether you
Yep.
fucking come out of that a better person, that's up to you. But odds are that's how it's gonna go down. Yes.
I do want to quickly share my favorite part of 40K. It's the Adeptus Mechanicus, right? So here in the future, right? We've all the technology's all collapsing all around. Yeah, and nobody knows how anything works. It's all ancient technology. And so what happens is they develop these like tech priests, these guys who they just barely know how machines work and they've made it a religion. So they'll have to pray to a computer and like burn incense around a computer to make it work. And what's more, they say, you know what? The machine really is the god. So they fucking tear off their flesh and replace it with horrible, horrifying machine parts. And their goal is to eliminate anything that makes them human until they just become all machine because the flesh is weak. The flesh decays, but the machine, it goes on forever. Oh, it's great. You get these horrible monstrosities. They're all fucked up and they're bloody messes of iron and blood all mixed together. I fucking love it, man. It's great. Great
Austin, we're
stuff.
talking about 40K. I wasn't into Lovecraft, but 40K is just this dark dystopian future. Dude, so my favorite, Dean. And they
Yeah.
talk about that too, that they had AI back in the day and there was a civil war where it almost
War.
wiped out all of
Yeah.
humanity.
Fucked
So
it all
no
up.
AI,
Yeah.
no AI
Yeah.
allowed. You just worship them. But I love the wag of the orcs. Do you know about
Orcs.
this? This
Yeah,
the
man.
psychic
They
energy of the one
they just make
belief.
shit happen because they believe.
They got one belief that they're gonna fucking kill you and win. And I was just like, dude, if you had, I wonder. It's such a fascinating concept. Like, all right, you got a species which is spores. They're not sexually active, and they have one
Yeah.
instinct is to kill and to conquer. They'll kill each other too. But if you're going to war against an enemy, like all of a sudden their ships go faster if they paint them red, and
Yeah. They believe it.
guns that don't work because they believe it. I'm like, what if you had all of humanity believing in one thought? And I'm like, I have to think that that would
Oh yeah.
fucking work. That
Yeah.
it would work, like on a fucking physical level, metaphysical level. That seems like that might just work, man. It's fascinating.
What a, I've always thought that I was always fascinated by the story of the Tower of Babel in Genesis, right? Where everybody gets to get all the nations of the world get together and they're building a tower to climb to God, and then it shows God, and God says, if they keep working amongst each other, there is nothing they cannot achieve. God says that, right? Everybody united in one task together, and we all believe we can do it. And God was afraid. He was afraid that they were going to do it. And I think that that speaks to something, man, that the collective psychic power of people who have a singular belief, that is cataclysmically powerful,
You,
changes everything.
the other thing I love about that wag energy of the orcs is because
You could
I've
say the same about belief in the emperor, too. Same
well
thing.
the
Yeah.
Imperium and the Necrons or whatever the fuck that's like. They all seem miserable except for the orcs. Like the
Yeah.
orcs are the only ones
They
having a good
love it. They
time.
love it.
Fucking,
Yeah.
let's kill them all. Fucking, we die. It's great. I died in battle. I'm like, they seem to be having a good time, and everything's straight up. It's like I fight you, you fight me. Whoever wins gets to be the top position. I'm like, guys, they. I hope they win. Hope they
Yep.
win.
Yeah.
Austin, do you know about
And,
40K at all? Do you know any of this shit? We Lovecraft
Uh,
fucking bullshit. Do you actually read real fucking cosmic horror?
I'd like to know how you ingest it. Now, is it Warhammer within the Warhammer
40K.
universe?
Yeah.
40K Warhammer's, they're the same company, but one's like fantasy, one of them's like sci-fi.
Okay. Are you listening to audiobooks or you're actually reading these?
Audiobooks. Yeah.
Oh, Chase, have you heard of Caiaphas Cain?
No, I just did the Horus Heresy. I just did the
Okay,
big
that's
one.
the big one. Chase, Caiaphas Cain. He's a commandant in the imperial army or whatever. They're great. They're great books. They're totally fun. They're like I'm not gonna spoil anything. Just Caiaphas Cain. They're great. They're the
Dude,
best of them all.
they got these great names. Like I like this face, like the Otis Xenos. These are the fucking
Yeah.
scientists that can fight but study the alien species. I'm like, okay, these are fucking whoever came up with these names is fantastic. It's not this
They just kept going, man.
Lord of the
They just
Rings
kept.
bullshit, Lovecraft, fucking pussy ass
Yeah.
shit. It's like real names, man. Yeah. And awesome. We're talking about Rand. There's just a hopelessness to it. Everything is suffering. When you die, your soul goes to this thing called the warp, which is chaos and psychic energy, and it just gets dissolved. So there's no, there's nothing. and all you're gonna do is suffer. And your best bet you can do is just try to survive. Just try to survive as long as you can, man. And it's just it feels like real life. It
And the
feels
chaos gets interesting too, man.
chaos
Like all the
gods.
chaos gods, like Nurgle, who's this god of like disease and rot and stuff, but everyone who like embraces him loves him, like because they believe that they get to be eternal. Like you live in this endless state of decay that never
But
ends, and it's like it's this twisted immortality that's just, and you can see like the logic and the twisted dark logic. It's great.
it's it's just I've been immersed in it. Yeah, it's fantastic. I think because I see so much of it every day, but it is there's touch of hope. Like if the Emperor awakens, maybe there's a
Maybe.
shot, but it's like God, it's just minute. It's minute.
Yeah, yeah. That's the other cool thing. Like that, so the emperor, like if they try to kill him, then the whole system crack. It all just it all breaks down and stuff like that. Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Caiaphas Cain, Chase. Caiaphas Cain. It's the
Caiaphas
greatest. It's the
Cain.
greatest of them
Okay.
all. Yeah, yeah. Caiaphas Cain. Yeah, man. Well, believe it or not, that's all the topics, I believe. Yeah. Can you believe that? We did all of them flowing very smoothly, man. That was
Let
kind
me
of
ask you
nice.
this because it's been on my mind because I'm looking at this
Yeah.
can. If you had one drink to be in your refrigerator, not alcoholic, and
Mm,
one can of something that was
yeah.
always in there, always, what would it be? I got my answer.
Well, so tell me this. Am I trying to be healthy?
No, that this is personal preference, fucking indulgence, healthy, whatever you care. It doesn't matter.
It's a Conrad answer, but I'm sticking to it because I fucking believe in it. And I was sad when I couldn't find it at
I think we're
Buffalo
gonna have the
Rock.
same. It's Buffalo Rock. That
Buffalo
yellow
Rock.
can,
Buffalo. Yep.
that
Yep.
Southern ginger ale. It's like drinking a beer. It hits you so hard you can't chug it. It's impossible to chug. It's a
You kill yourself if you
you
do
would
that,
die.
man.
It's a
Yeah,
sipping fucking ginger ale and it hits. It's
dude.
it's
I
manly.
was so sad I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it in Oneana. I was pissed off.
Really?
I looked. I was in
Did
the
you go to
Walmart.
Piggly Wiggly? You got to go to Piggly Wiggly.
No Piggly Wiggly. Piggly
Yes,
Wiggly's
there is.
gone. You
Really?
know, in Oneana, I didn't see it.
They
No,
got it. They
it was
always
right
have
on
it at
the
the
street.
beach. In Florida, they always have it.
I went to the Monicas. I didn't see it in the Monicas either.
That's
So
somebody famous needs to prop that up. It's a fantastic drink.
I know it's
That'll
the.
be our goal. That's our new goal.
Have you
Buffalo.
tried showing it to people?
I mean, it's so rare that I have it.
I've shown it to multiple friends. Every single one spat it out. They're just
Yeah,
like, "Ugh, what is that?" I was like, you don't understand.
it's
You don't
Southern ginger
understand.
ale. They gave it to the Southern soldiers when they got shot before they
It's got
died.
that little story on it, man. It's like, yeah, Confederates use this to like help out with back
Help
in.
ease the pain. You're dying of multiple gunshot
Uh,
wounds, and you drink that, and you're like, "Oh my God, this is fucking terrible." Ugh, and then you die.
what if wokeness killed it? What if they're like, oh, it's a Confederate drink. We got to get rid of it. Maybe that's
Ooh.
what happened.
That
I
wouldn't
wouldn't.
surprise me. That the disease of wokeness, I hate. I just with a passion, I fucking hate it. So this war, conflict, change, good, good, fucking good. All for it.
Yeah. Well, hey, I think that's a good note to end on. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thanks for listening to the Divine Brothers podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.